So this is me right now. I'm that exhausted warrior after 2 months of dedications and initiations and Samhain celebrations and the annual Witches' Walk of protest. I am done. I'm cooked. And right now, me and the dragon just want to be settling down and going for a bit of a rest. So I'm sitting here in an apartment in Gran Canaria and I'm just taking it easy. The problem with taking it easy is when you have a channel mind like mine, you wake up and the team, as we call them, are shaking and waking and saying, hey, you know what? You should do this. You should do a little podcast. You should do a little message to everybody talking about what is the difference between the warriors for the light and the warriors of the light. So for me, there is this, and it's not really my idea. This is the idea of the team that I work with. And you could probably hear some of the noise on the street behind me. But the team is basically saying that we need to be very careful. There is a spiritual warfare going on. There is a spiritual warfare on all the levels, on all the dimensions. And we need to be really careful how we approach who we are and what our job is in this. So this lovely picture, although it's probably a little bit upsetting to some of you, is by Lisa Hunt, and it comes from the Celtic Dragon Tarot that I use all the time. And it is actually a card I get quite a lot because I don't pay attention and I don't give myself enough breaks, and I'm constantly rushing forward, rushing with angels fear to tread. I open my mouth, I say the wrong thing, I put my fists up instead of saying just take a breath, be peaceful, allow yourself to just see what's going on. But I'm learning. And this is the difference between the people that are calling themselves the warriors of the light to myself and others who are the warriors for the light. The warriors of the light believe that they are already ascended masters. They believe that they're already better than everybody else. They don't look in the mirror and see a flawed human being anymore. They see some sort of spiritual warrior agency that is already perfection. And with all due respect to some people, the people who come to Glastonbury, the people who come to Avalon, the people who come to bring their groups and wander around in the white outfits, I have no issue with them. They can do whatever they want. That's their choice. But we have to be really careful. As human beings, that is not who we are. And we talked about this in the temple the other day, and I was telling people about a course that I went on, and I had this person sitting next to me, and she had a T-shirt on, and she said, "I only want positive vibes." So I packed my stuff up and got up, and she said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Well, I'm really sorry, but that's not who I am. I'm not just positive vibes. I'm a human being. There is darkness and light in me." And the look on her face and the whole of the course, which went on for a while, she just avoided me like the plague because I wasn't safe. Because I was the mirror for her, of her own darkness, of her own hidden shadow. And this is the thing, isn't it? We all still have hidden shadows. We all still have times when we lose our temper, when we are triggered, when we are angry. And I don't necessarily know whether I'm getting more ascended or whether I'm just tired of the drama. But these days, when something triggers me, I sort of sit back and think to myself, I probably have a natter to the girls and I go, oh, for crying out loud, have you seen that? But then I just sit back and I think to myself, what will be, will be. It will all work itself out. And if they are successful in what they're doing, then it's meant to be. It's not your job to point out things that you feel are wrong in the world. And that is either a sign of maturity or a sign of somebody who doesn't give a damn anymore. So right now, I'm just going to have a relax and a peaceful time. I really look forward to spending time with the beloved, although he just went off to go for a walk while I'm doing this. He is one of the most patient people, I will say that. He knows how important my work is to me. He knows that when something comes through that needs to be talked about, that he needs to step back and make himself scarce. And he has been doing that for almost 30 years since I started this path. And I'm really grateful to him for that. So, but he will also be the one that says to me, okay, B, now that's enough. You have got to go and do something else, or you have to have a rest. Let's go for a walk. Let's go and have a pint, or let's just sit somewhere in a forest, or sit in our caravan and eat our sandwiches. And that's the really lovely idea. So right now, my dragon and I are going to be on a bit of a respite, a bit of a rest. And although we have had a few pokes and there's some blood flowing, there's a bit of a scratching game going on, we have both decided that we're just going to hang out and be at peace. He's gone off to his own realm, visiting with his friends, and I'm just gone off and being with my beloved. But what is the real difference between a warrior for the light and a warrior of the light? I think the best way to describe it is when you think of the angel Gabriel versus the Witcher. And I know that's a bit of a strange one, but here you are. Hear me out. The Witcher is the guy or the person who has magical powers, who has been gifted with magical powers, who's been gifted with the tools that they're using in order to fight for the light, here down on earth, in the dirt. And I don't know if you know the series The Witcher, but it's sort of set in the 12th century, and basically he is a magical being that is protecting people, and he's a grumpy old git. And he does live in squalor. He doesn't really have a nice house over his head. He doesn't really have a family. He's just basically an outsider, an outcast, and he just wanders the planet, the earth, looking to help others that need help so that the light can remain flaming, really, if you want to call it that way. And this is really how I see us, the warriors for the light. We know that we are flawed beings. We know that we get tired. We know that we get impatient. We know that, there are times when we just want to put our head under the duvet or watch Hallmark movies and eat biscuits because it's hard out there. If you think that the 12th century was the worst time, or the Dark Ages were the worst time on earth, you're obviously not looking around. And I'm not being negative, and I'm not saying that we're all going to die, but what I am saying is that we are at a precipice. We were at a threshold when COVID finished, and we had a choice. And I said it at that time. We had a choice. Do we go right into the light or dark, or left into the darkness? Now, I work with the goddesses of the darkness. I love the darkness. The darkness in the forest at night is one of my favorite times of the day. But this is a darkness of the mind. This is a darkness that obscures the light of the soul. That soul light is still on in these people. People always say, oh, they don't have a soul. How can they be so horrible? How can they be so violent? How can they be so uncaring of what they're doing in the world and what they're doing to people? The thing is that they have a soul and the light is shining, but in this incarnation they have chosen to call in enemy forces, as I call it, spiritual enemy forces. And if you believe that there are light beings, you must also believe that there are beings who don't always wish for everyone to be happy, for everybody to be, on the right side of the light. There are people who don't want to work for the good of all. There are people who don't want to work for the light of their own soul. For them, If you've ever seen the movie The Matrix, and you remember the scene where the guy's eating the steak and he's saying, I know the steak's not real, and I know that I'm going back into this battery, and I know that I'm going to just be dreaming virtual reality, but for me that's enough. I don't want to know anymore. And it's actually the character of Keanu Reeves, I think it's called Johnny, I can't remember for sure, that chooses to come out of the battery, to come out of that illusion, which is exactly what we are doing right now. It's the best metaphor I've ever seen. And actually sits there and sees the dilemma we're in, the drama we're in, the doldrums we are in as humanity. And then you've got the lovely warriors of the light who believe themselves by their very presence to be ready in action in the fight. Now it is possible that that is the truth. How do I know? Who am I to say that's not true? I just see them wafting around in Glastonbury. Yes, I'm sorry to say wafting, wandering around. They are middle class, middle aged, or younger now, TikTok influencers who are making shed loads of money by telling people that they need to stay positive, even if they can't get a dentist and their teeth hurt, even if they can't get a doctor and they have got some sort of life-threatening illness. We just have to be positive. You just have to send out positive vibes, they say. You know, the reason why you are in the place that you are is because you're not positive enough. It's the worst form of spiritual victim blaming, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Maybe if I just go la la la, put my fingers in the ears, stop looking at pictures of children being raped, murdered, and beaten, maybe I will be positive. Maybe I can put, those white clothes on and simply be a force and energy for good in the world by my mere presence. I don't believe that's going to be the case. It never has been. I've always been the one that's seen the darkness. I've always been the catastrophizer. I've always been the prepper. I've always said, be careful, folks. Shit's going to go down. And what happens? Shit's going to go down. So, where does that leave us? What do you want to believe in? Do you believe that these warriors of the light are going to save humanity from the downturn, the lemming precipice that we are standing at right now? Do you believe that these are angels in human form? You see, I'd like to believe that. And I would believe that if every single one of them wasn't holding out their hands and getting payment from people who are desperate. And I see this in Glastonbury so often. It's the charlatans, the people who say, pay up, pay me, get this massage, get this reading, do this thing, and all will be well. See, the thing is, I'm a reader too, and I'm a healer. But for now, what the goddess, my goddess, the goddesses are calling to are the warriors for the light, the mouthy ones, the ones that may not look in the body like a warrior, but are a warrior at heart, are the ones that will step up and say, no more death of innocence, no more shuffling the money until you are at the end of nobody has any food and you have everything in your pocket. No more greed, no more taking more than your fair share, no more need for those who have nothing, who sleep in their cars and eat substandard food, feed their children substandard food because they can't afford anything else. Here in the UK, I guess we're still well off. We have our healthcare, we do have all these systems where really everybody should be okay, should have enough to just eat and have a roof over their heads. But the systems are crashing. The systems are falling down over our ears, or perhaps people are perverting the systems to scrape another extra penny for themselves. The other day somebody told me that they had been forced to go on to a different benefit that we have here in the UK, and that from that benefit she now has to pay tax. This is a person who is disabled, who can't work, who can barely make ends meet, but the benefit she got before was tax-free. The benefit she gets now is taxed. Why on earth would the government see a benefit for a disabled person as a taxable income? It's not an income, but anyway, I digress. So, what kind of warrior are you? Are you a warrior of the light that sends out positive vibes, lights the candles, and does all the good stuff? We do that, but we also go to meetings and open our mouth and make ourselves uncomfortable and point out things that are not right to the detriment of our own health and our own safety. Because there is a danger in being a warrior for the light. Very often you're the one that ends up with swords in your back, or knives in your side, or anything like that. And these are spiritual, not physical, hopefully necessarily, but really, what is it that you want to be when you grow up? Are you going to stand up and stand in front of people with a sword up to defend them from somebody who's trying to harm and hurt them? Or are you somebody that stands by, stands back, and sends good vibes while they're being slaughtered? See, that's possibly a very offensive thing to say to some of you, but that's how I see it. And this is my podcast, so why don't I just say what I want to say? You have a choice. You can always switch me off. So on that, I hope that you all step up and become warriors for the light. That you don't look in the mirror and think, I'm okay, Jack. What do I care about other people? I'm all right. My family's all right. There's a beautiful poem that goes on about, where were you when they took away your neighbors? Everybody else keeps quiet, and then they come for you, but there's no one left to rescue you. It's a paraphrasing of that beautiful poem, but you can look it up and I put it in the bottom of my comments. But if you like to hear some more of my unsolicited ramblings, please do like and subscribe our channel. This morning I didn't get any peace until I did this little podcast video, because the problem when you channel and when you have a team of people sitting behind you that need to be heard is that you get woken up on holiday at 7:30 in the morning and somebody says, we need you to do a little job for us. That's the warrior for the light. I don't turn around. I don't go back to sleep and say, later dude, right now I need my beauty sleep. Unfortunately, I get up and I create this. I wish you a very good day. I hope that whenever the opportunity comes up, that you will step into the role of the protector, of the guardian. And I hope that whatever happens in the world, that you and yours and all of those that you love are safe. If they're not, then hopefully there will be a warrior for the light to help you and them. Blessed be.